The nice guy problem. Someone got upset. Might not have even been your fault. But within 30 seconds, there you are, already apologizing. Not because it's your fault, but because their discomfort feels like your responsibility. It always does. And this is not the only place it shows up. It shows up in every room you walk into, in every relationship you manage, be it romantic relationships, relationships amongst family members, friendships, or relationships in the workplace. It shows up in every version of yourself that you perform so that nobody feels uncomfortable. This pattern of behavior has a name. It's called being a nice guy, and it's costing you more than you realize. In this video, we're gonna talk about 4 things. 1, what is the definition of a nice guy? 2, where do nice guys come from? 3, why is it so hard to stop being a nice guy? And 4, how to stop being a nice guy. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do the next time you feel that pull of a nice guy moment, that urge to be overly apologetic, overly agreeable, or simply disappear. In addition, I'm gonna give you 4 simple moves and 1 secret tool to help you in quitting being a nice guy. The secret tool that I'm going to recommend for you is a direction that most men are not pulled towards or directed towards. It's going to emphasize increasing and growing your emotional intelligence. If you stick with this tool for the next 30 days, you will see your emotional intelligence grow. It will grow in such a way that you will never see any social interaction the same way ever again. The definition of a nice guy. Now, most men think being a nice guy simply means being kind, generous, caring, easy to be around. A nice guy is simply a man who allows himself to fulfill other people's happiness to his own detriment. Another way to look at it would be he's okay with his own suffering if he makes other people happy. I'm gonna give you guys 3 simple examples of this, and then we're gonna dig into them a little bit. The first one is gonna be he avoids conflict. The second one is gonna be he says yes when he means no. The third one is gonna be that he shrinks himself so that no one gets upset. Okay, sign number 1, he avoids conflict. What that means is that everyone can be comfortable as long as he's uncomfortable. He's not okay with his happiness coming at anybody's discomfort. So he's not going to do anything about a situation that makes him uncomfortable. I'm going to give you a small example of this. Let's say our nice guy is going out for breakfast, first meal of the day, gets in there, sits down at his booth and says, "Waiter, I want a big omelet, all the fixings," whatever those fixings may be for you. You may like onions, banana peppers, I don't know, however you want it. After some time, the waiter comes back with his order and puts it down on his table. A bowl of oatmeal, 3 hard-boiled eggs. Now, he knows that's not what he ordered. You know that's not what he ordered. I know that's not what he ordered. But he smiles at the waiter. He's smiling on the outside, but inside, he's not smiling at all. But he won't say anything. He simply thinks to himself, I don't want to disturb the peace, and at least I got food. Now let's pause that situation right there and look at it. Remember, we're looking at he avoids conflict. Now, you guys might think, oh, in that situation, I would easily just flag the waiter. Or you guys might think, oh, this is too small stakes of a situation. It would be more believable if it was a high stakes situation, like say getting pressured into signing a lease you don't agree with for some crazy 35% interest rate. But the thing with being a nice guy is that it is reinforced at these little intersect, and these little situations spill into medium-sized situations that spill into the larger situations that you're thinking of, which would be not having enough boundaries to resist a high pressure sale. The bottom line is that a nice guy avoids conflict, is training themselves and reinforcing that their discomfort is not worth fighting for, and that is a big issue. Signs of a nice guy number 2. He says yes when he means no. He can call it keeping the peace, or he can call it being flexible. In this example, let's use a nice guy and a good woman going out on a date. So the good woman calls him up and says, hey, you want to go out to eat? He says, sure. She says, hey, what about this spot? He says, yeah, sure, that's all right. It's not all right. They go to this spot. He's not happy. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want anything here. But he lies and says everything's good. And if you've ever gone out with these people, even if it's not in the context of a date or just hanging out with a friend that is a nice guy, you're gonna feel it. She's gonna feel it. That something is off. But our nice guy says yes when he means no. So he says absolutely nothing, even though everybody feels it, and he just forces it. Now we're gonna pause that situation there and we're gonna look at it. In the previous one, we saw that the individual, our nice guy, would not stand up for themselves in a little situation. Now we're in a situation where an individual, our nice guy, is trying to build an intimate relationship with another person. And in that instance where they need to be authentic and advocate for themselves and say something as simple as, hey, I don't really vibe with this restaurant. Is there any other place you would like to go? Or if you're dead set on this, as soon as we're done, we're gonna go around a spot I like so I can grab something for myself. I'll just grab an appetizer while we're there. In this setting, the individual does not advocate themselves in the slightest. Once again, champions their suffering, champions training another person unknowingly to feel okay with them feeling uncomfortable in a situation. It's not a good thing. Signs of a nice guy number 3. He shrinks himself so no one feels uncomfortable. And once again, in doing this, he's thinking of himself as the bigger person. So our nice guy in this situation, he has a friend say something really disrespectful. It hurts him, but he says nothing. In fact, he smiles and then he rushes to change the subject. He doesn't address the issue. He doesn't address the hurt. He just goes from there. And something feels off now. But once again, he's not going to say anything. And this is going to continue. And he's going to get smaller every time this happens. Let's pause there and let's look at that. In our first one, we saw that our nice guy was not even gonna have the little bit of conflict in defense of what he wants with a stranger. In this one, we see in an attempt to build an intimate relationship, he's training the other individual to be okay with him being uncomfortable. And in this one, this is a friendship. Regardless of the length of a friendship, a friend is someone you want to be able to correct and you trust to correct you when you're out of pocket, you know? When you're acting a type where you got to give them a chance to be like, is this who you really are? But if you don't, once again, you are training people to disrespect you, training yourself to be okay with being disrespected. And those are 3 signs of a nice guy. Now, those 3 signs of being a nice guy come from one fear. That is the fear that now that everybody's trained up that it's okay to treat you like this, that if you stop being a nice guy, everyone's gonna leave you. This fear does not make you a weak man. This fear simply means that you learn to survive in environments where you never felt safe being yourself. That doesn't make you weak. Where do nice guys come from? Now, we're gonna go down to the fear that drives nice guys to figure out where they come from. And in learning this, we're gonna look at the psychology of what it means to be a nice guy. I'm gonna break it down in 3 layers: the seed, the root, and the fruit. If we look at layer 1, the seed, we realize off the bat that men are not simply born nice guys. They learn this. Where and when do they learn this? They learn this the moment they realize that being agreeable gets them accepted. So they begin to scour and find paths on how to be acceptable, how to be agreeable. And on this journey, they learn things. They learn things like that having an opinion makes things harder, that having needs makes things uncomfortable, that taking up space can lead to some problems and discomfort. And while they're navigating the world and they're learning these things, their environment begins to reward them by saying things, and you may have heard this before, boys are so much easier to raise than girls. And it's not the case that boys are easier to raise than girls. It's that boys are easier to ignore than girls. And as society ignores these boys seeking to be accepted and engaging in agreeable behavior, they're learning things for themselves. They're learning how to make themselves shrink. And they do this from boyhood into manhood. And that man never stops and wonder, when or why did I start shrinking myself? When we talk about the seed, we're talking about that one desire, acceptance, and what it costs them to get it. That's the seed of where all this starts. Layer 2, the root. I'm gonna get straight to the point on this one. The root that feeds that seed, what it costs a nice guy, it costs them their true identity. identity, their authentic self. Because in the pursuit of this acceptance and trying to be the most agreeable person that they can be, they've built a whole new persona for themselves. And they perform this persona. They're always performing. Unfortunately though, the longer you perform, the harder it is to remember what is underneath. And what is underneath a nice guy's performance? Their real opinion in the room. The thing they wanted to say that they never said. The boundary that they never wanted to enforce that they should have, but for fear of losing acceptance. And they may perform so well that one day they'll be sitting across someone that they've known for years, and they'll realize something. That person doesn't actually know them. All they know is the performance. That's the cost. That's the root that feeds the seed that grows into a nice guy. They're feeding their authentic self, and it happens bit by bit, over a little bit at a time. A no that should have been a yes. An objection that was never raised. Dear Mr. Nice Guy, this is the hard truth. You have been liked your whole life, and you have been lonely your whole life. And this is not a coincidence. No one respects a man or anybody that does not care for themselves. That goes for the people that use you, the people that rely on you, even the people that call you friends. This niceness, this complicitness in allowing yourself to be overused, there's nothing respectable about that. It'll never be seen as a virtue, ever. And that's just what it is. And until you come to that realization, you're gonna be alone. And I understand that it is a survival strategy, but I hope you understand at some point or consider that it is an outdated survival strategy. Number 3, why is it so hard to stop being a nice guy? Let me see if I got the answer for you guys right here. I got the answer right here. And it is denial. That is why it's so hard to stop being a nice guy. And this is like denial to the umpteenth level. This is deny the problem, deny that you have a problem, deny that you have a problem with them, deny that you have a problem with them and that it's messing you up, deny that you have a problem with them and that it's messing you up and that you have the power to stop all this. Denial, it has many types and forms. I'm gonna go into greater depth on the topic of denial in the next video, so please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notify button. In terms of forms of denial, when we talk of forms of denial, I'm just gonna go over like 3. One is forgetting. Say you had a problem with someone and you're furious and you never brought it up with them and they wanna resolve the conflict and be like, hey, let's talk about this. You can actively deny them by saying something like this: it's not that big a deal, let me sleep on it, we'll talk about it tomorrow. That is the denial of forgetting. Another form of denial, number 2, is gonna be self-deception. And this is one of the forms of denial that we all accelerate at. Self-deception can be very subtle or it can be very egregious, like just a straight up open violation. So it could be something like this. Say people that you call your friend forget to invite you out and along with them on an outing. Instead of saying, hey, maybe these guys aren't so cool with me and maybe I should look for people that I'm more compatible with or reciprocate my expectations for a friendship. No. You're just gonna say, man, they must have been busy. Even though we're in the same WhatsApp group, even though we're in the same Facebook Messenger group, even though they have my number, they just forgot about me and they posted the outing. It looks like they're having a good time. Next time I'll be there with them. That is a straight up self-deception. You know those people don't like you. And an all-time favorite when it comes to denial is minimizing. I am guilty of this one, and my favorite catchphrase is, it is what it is, it's not what it's not. Pretty much saying, it didn't kill me, I'm still alive. But what it doesn't do is, it doesn't acknowledge the actual issue. And that's a big thing for nice guys. A lot of nice guys would stop being nice if they forced themselves to address the fact that this matter right here is an issue, they are uncomfortable with it, and that's just the start. They don't even have to come up with a solution, just acknowledge it and let it known that they're uncomfortable with the situation. Now with this, the automatic answer is not to simply start just being like, don't be nice. No. The world needs kind men. What the world can do with less of is men who are nice out of fear. Men who are nice driven by guilt. It's inauthentic, it's ingenuine, and it does nothing to really help anybody. Lastly, how to stop being a nice guy. Now I'm gonna share with you guys 4 simple moves and the 1 secret tool I promise to help you if you wanna quit being a nice guy. The first one is watch your fake yes. The second one is slow down before answering. Third, say no and stop talking. Fourth one, you're gonna feel guilty. Go through with it anyways. Move number 1. Notice your fake yes. In noticing your fake yes, the goal is simply awareness. Once again, remember I said earlier that you don't need a solution, but you need to be aware and acknowledge that there is an issue. So if you're a nice guy, you've been conditioned from childhood into your adulthood to always say yes impulsively, without anybody asking. They call your name and you're just like, yeah, where do you need me? How could I help? By noticing your fake yes, you notice when you're saying yes and you're not actually comfortable with it. This is the first step. I don't need you to have a solution. I don't need you to immediately jump into an action and confront a situation, because sometimes that can be scary. But by noticing, you wake up the part of you that you've buried. The part of you that wants to say no, the part of you that wants to express something else. And that's the goal with this first move, is just being aware that you don't agree with it. Somebody calls you up on the phone and they're like, hey, before they even explain, you're like, sure thing, buddy. But then the minute that phone call hangs up, you're annoyed that they asked you. You're annoyed that you said yes. And the part that kills you the most is that you're still gonna go through with it, resenting them, resenting yourself, and having nobody to blame but yourself. Okay, we're gonna build on that skill with move number 2. Slow down before answering. Slow down before responding. A lot of nice guys, when they hear the pause in a conversation, they rush to fill it in. There's a nervousness, there's a need to justify something. It's okay to just pause and hang in the space. You want to actively create pauses, which is the goal in this next move. So if somebody asks you something, your response is one of the following: let me think about that, or I'll get back to you. Both of those statements are complete sentences, and you are not obligated to justify them. You're not obligated to fill that in with anything else. You've said it, it's done. So now you've noticed your faked yes. You've created pauses and space. Move number 3, say no and stop talking. You do not owe anybody an explanation for your decision to do anything in life. Usually, a nice guy will get caught up in something like this. Hey buddy, I know today's your day off. I know you're home and you're resting, but I was wondering, can you help me move my couch? Now, nice guys can say no, but they can't enforce a no. So they'll say a justified no, like, yeah, I'd like to, but nah, I'm sort of busy. Oh, come on, it'll just be for a second, this, that, and the third. And I'll be like, I was gonna take apart my AC and rebuild my microwave from scratch, and come on man, just be a pal. And then at that point, this is the third practice. Say no, no justification. No in and of itself is a complete response. It's a complete response. You're not obligated to say anything after the fact. Because what's happening is when you're backfilling your no with all this other stuff, you're letting the other person know that you don't believe you are entitled to your autonomy. And you are. It is your autonomy. You decide. And we're moving on to move number 4. Move number 4, simply put, brings it all together and acknowledges the fact that you may feel guilty, but to go through with it anyways. So the guilt you're gonna get in creating space for yourself and enforcing the boundary of no is what we've already spoken about prior, which is the fear of abandonment. If I say no to them now, they may never want to talk to me or associate with me or whatever. But you have to go through with it. And you will feel all sorts of anxiety as you begin to enforce your boundaries and say no. But those feelings are good. It's not moral guilt you're feeling. You're feeling withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawal from no longer being somebody's doormat that they can walk over. You're feeling pain because you get to live long enough to no longer be the hero, but be the villain in somebody's story. And in this instance, it's okay to be villainous when you simply want to have your own space for yourself. Not for anything like sinisterly or dastardly, you know, just you need space, personal space. All right. And there you go, those are the 4 moves. The more you practice those, the more you'll uncover who you really are as a man. You'll be able to have more authentic and more genuine relationships. But practicing those 4 moves, it comes with a lot of pushback, internally and externally. Internally, as I've already mentioned, you're gonna feel guilt, you're gonna feel denial, you're gonna feel so many conflicting emotions when you just want to do good things for yourself. And on the external, you're gonna have people, the minute you start saying no to them, saying you've changed, they're gonna try and push your button, or they may just say, hey, I don't like you anymore. And that's perfect. You want that. If you're being genuine, if you're being good to yourself and people don't like that for you, you don't want those people in your life. You want them far, far, far away. No lie. But on this journey, they will look at you as the bad guy. you'll look at yourself as the bad guy. That discomfort will go away with time as you practice, as you become more comfortable in being who you are and choosing things that benefit you for the sake of them just benefiting you, not looking for an exchange or return from another person. And in that regard, I still have that one tool that I told you that I was going to tell you about. That tool is a completely free app called How We Feel. How We Feel is an app that was put together by emotional scientists, psychologists, to help people address the topic of journaling and help them be more aware of their feelings. So to cut through guilt and denial, you need to know what you're actually feeling. A lot of nice guys just repress their emotions, so they don't know why they feel a certain type of way. And if you don't have your reason for why, if your reason for why is not clear to you, your how is going to fall through. It will fall through. So what I'm inviting you guys to do is, I've kept the link in the description below. Download it, give it a shot. 30 days. Check in twice a day.